made it legal. Well, if he signed that into law, he just basically acquitted them of any crime historically, as well as going forward. And so we need to distrust the media because they don't have to tell the truth. If it supports a government rule and what they want to do, they don't have to tell the truth.
Yep.
So why are we getting into all this? Well, it's hopefully to help you, the listener, and us to continue forward doing what is right, focusing on your relationship with God, your family, and improving and strengthening your community, getting better prepared, staying focused on what's important and not getting lost in the media or social media or all the things that are there in our lives designed to distract us.
Mm-hmm. Another thing that these guys are all notorious for is the old order. I think it's called order ab chaos, or order out of chaos. And then they problems, what they do, reaction, problem, reaction, solution.
Problem, reaction, solution. They create the problem. They've already got the solution.
Right? And so they
prepared.
They keep going with that. And that's where bringing it home to preparing is that it's a perfect example, in my opinion, that when the country felt like we needed a strong leader, we want somebody to lead us, somebody to kind of do it for us, get rid of the swamp, clean out the swamp. And we all looked to Trump for that kind of a reaction or that kind of a resource. Well, Trump did his best, but he was, coming up against the wall all over the place. He's out of office now. And what are we realizing? At the end of the day, it comes back to each one of us being self-reliant. The only person that we can count on to lead us out of or into wherever we want to go is ourselves. And we have to be prepared. And it's a big job. It's overwhelming sometimes. We do need to be more involved politically. We need to be more involved with our spirituality. We need to be more involved with our physical preps. We need to learn different skill sets to figure things out. Do we have to be an expert? No. But I feel like we need to go back to what we talked about in the very first episode or second episode was being, you don't have to be a master of all your trades, but you have to at least be, well enough versed in several of them that you can be a resource. And I feel like it really is proving the point of self-reliance with everything that's happening in the world. And we can't trust our leaders, and obviously. And so we got to learn how to trust ourselves and become more self-reliant and trust each other.
And that should be a red flag for anyone who is watching the media, listening to anyone in general. If they are leading you away from being self-reliant or self-sufficient, that's not possible to be completely self-sufficient. But if they're taking you away from that purpose, that red flag, red light in your head should go off. Like, they want me to take a check. They want me to join their system. They want me to go get a loan, go out and sell, or go out and support the economy and spend some money, right? Like that's all counter to self-sufficiency, self-reliance. It's it's groupthink. And to an extent, we have to have community. We have to have some thought of our community, our neighbors. But when the community is more important than the individual, big red light should be going off. So that's my 2 cents there.
Yeah. What's interesting is like especially in the prepper world, like we talk about community, our communities, right? Like-minded individuals, they understand their skill sets. We talk about them. Like you kind of create your inner circle of people. And that's why it's so important to have groups like our Facebook and Discord groups that you can come in and connect with other people and find out who's in your area that you can work with and trust and start building that relationship now. Right. Because really what happened if you go all the way back to the Revolutionary War, 3% of the population was like, we're done with England. We're getting out. 3%. That's it. Mm-hmm. They were the catalyst to creating this new country. And what happened? There were some people on the England side still, and they're like, I'm going to help them. We can't let this fall apart. And there's a lot of people that were like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. Let's get out of this thing. This is not helping us at all. Let's move on. And that is where we're headed again. But everything's trying to divide us so that we won't come together. Everything is designed to pull us apart. I mean, capitalism is great, but crony capitalism, which is what these major corporations, right, they're trying to do. Blackstone, what's the other big one?
Well, BlackRock.
Vanguard, BlackRock, and Vanguard.
I agree.
They're like, we're going to do it this way, and they own majority of everything. So then you look at the stock markets and what's going on in the stock markets, and it's crazy.
Yeah, I
Then
heard
you
some
look at what's going on
amazing-
with the wars, and it's all connecting.
Yeah, I heard some amazing numbers this morning that BlackRock has under management $10 trillion. That's more than the GDP of I think it's Spain and Germany put together. So what kind of power do they have? You know, what kind of influence do they have with that kind of currency? I'm not going to say money, because it's just digital. I mean, they don't have that in the bank. It's not cash sitting here or there. But and then Vanguard, I think, has like $7 trillion. Do you have any idea how much $1 trillion is? You know, I think to count to $1 trillion, it would take like 32,000 years, something like that. To count 1, 2, 3. It's insane how much currency has been created and is out there. I know, totally different track, but it is hard to comprehend what's going on behind the scenes with, like you say, Scott, with the what's going on in the White House. We have no idea. We really have no idea what's going on. But anyway, get me back on track.
No, so I was going to say that
market.
I used to talk about when I would do a presentation to a brand new client back when I was, meeting with tons of clients brand new and in the industry of finance, and I would tell them what $1 trillion was. And I'd say, if you stacked dollar bills on top of each other and you had $1 trillion or a couple trillion, I can't remember how many, it was either 1 trillion or 2 or 3 trillion. You could stack dollar bills on top of each other and the stack would hit the moon and back, and then the moon and back. And so somebody even said that maybe $1 trillion, or I don't know if it was 1 billion seconds ago, was like Jesus was on the earth, It was like, that's how many, that's just to give you perspective on the vast numbers here. And I'm going to jump into something else that all of us agree on, that at least I think our community will agree on, is that we need to end the Fed, right? So the Federal Reserve is not, it's a total joke. It's not a federal, it's a private corporation. It's not owned or operated by the government. It's actually a private corporation run by the globalists that basically manage, control, and otherwise run our monetary supply. And like you said, Shane, they run the currency, which is not God's money. God's money is quick commercial. God's money is gold and silver. Thank you. And end of story. All right, moving on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, another interesting numbers I heard the other day that apparently someone requested a what is it called? Where you request a FOIA request, right? Freedom of Information Act request, and the Fed had to disclose how much currency was created and lended out to during the financial crisis. They've disclosed to some of the banks that some of the loans, but some of these loans to other countries and these other big banks, I think it was, what's the big bank in China? The HSBC.
That's one of them.
Yeah, they and I may be getting this completely wrong.
I think you were talking about Deutsche Bank.
But I think it was HSBC in particular.
Okay.
It was disclosed that the Fed loaned them. It was like $4 trillion, maybe it was $7 trillion, something like that, during this last, I think it was during the last 2 years for the pandemic. They're just loaning them, and this is not on their books. They have a $9 trillion balance sheet, right? That of assets they're buying, which are mostly mortgage-backed securities. They also lent out trillions and trillions of dollars to other banks and other countries. And, there's the list is, I don't think, been fully disclosed either. It's just unbelievable. Like I was kind of saying before, is what's going on behind the scenes. We have no idea. Trillions and trillions of dollars. No.
Yeah, it'll never be. It makes more sense for them to create new loans to pay off the old loans, to create new interest, because they can multiply the interest 13, 20, 40, 50 times, however many times they want to, because it's not on anybody's books. And they can do that so that they have control and they can maintain control. And that also creates a permanent cash flow for them. Like it's never in their best interest to pay off a debt. Exactly. It's always in their best interest to create a new debt.
Well, that's their product. That's what they're selling. They're selling debt. Yeah. And in the end, they're buying everything. They're buying the world. I mean, that's the 2030 plan is by 2030, you know, you'll own nothing and you'll be happy,
Right.
because the elite, they'll own everything.
And I'll say his name correctly. Thank you very much, Klaus Schwab.
Yes. The perfect Bond villain, right?
Yeah, he is. He looks like it too.
Oh my goodness.
Well, what's interesting is I was watching an analysis of our current state of affairs in the economy, and our bond funds. This is the first time in I can't remember how many years those have reversed. That they're actually, inflation's so much higher than what those return is, that everyone's getting out of bond funds right now.
Well, yeah, the yield curve is inverted.
Yeah,
between the 2
whenever
and
the yield curve inverts, what happens?
Go into recession.
Major recession.
Mm-hmm.
And this the curve inversion right now is actually worse than
2008.
The 2008, but also worse than the what was the 70s one as well.
Oh, okay, early 80s, late 70s.
Yeah, late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah.
Not quite as bad yet as the Great Depression, but it won't take much. It won't take much to drop off that edge, especially with inflation continuing to rise. And you wonder, I mean, what else is going on in the market that we don't know about? Behind the scenes, you know, there's all this stuff talking about Bitcoin and all the different Ethereum and all the different types of XRP and other blockchain and other token systems. And the Fed's trying to create their own, you know, and they brought over the former like board members from XRP and Ripple and like all these other companies. And I'm like, okay, what are they up to? There's more going on than what we can see, because they don't have to disclose everything right now.
They're unelected. You know, they have no responsibility to report to anybody. I'm going to throw this out so you guys can listen. There's a channel on YouTube, and he's also got his website. It's called Days of Noah. Have you guys heard that? DAYZ, Days of Noah. This guy, I want to say he's a psychologist, but that's what he studied for years. And he goes through and shows actual reports, actual information, data showing what's going on behind the scenes, and it will blow your mind. They are trying to control everything. But then we're kind of getting back into the tinfoil hat things. But, you know, all conspiracy theories or majority of conspiracy theories become conspiracy fact. I mean, that's... Well,
the difference between a conspiracy theory and a conspiracy fact is just a year or two.
Exactly. It's just time. It's just time.
In fact, just speaking to that point, literally Breitbart, which is a major news resource source, says global elites plotting to destroy Americans' personal income. And wealth. That's a Breitbart article my dad sent me yesterday. USA Today, is the US headed for a recession? This Wall Street bank thinks so, and that's Deutsche Bank. I mean, they're one of the biggest banks in the world, and they're saying that we're going to be headed towards a recession in the next 2 years. By 2023, we should be in recession. And so this is not just a conspiracy theory. We'll post some of this stuff on our Facebook and on our email so that you guys have the access to the things we're looking at so that you know about it. But if you have resources yourselves out there, if you're listening right now and you have resources, you've seen some of these things, articles, share them with us, because we'll be more than happy to get them out to the rest of the folks that are listening. And, you know, I'm a financial professional by trade in my life, and I have a financial channel, but I'm telling you that as I see, one of the things that you can do to financially prepare is make sure that you have your emergency fund, make sure that you have emergency food, make sure that you have your food preps, make sure that you have that you're investing and diversifying properly into things that you're comfortable with. Don't go do something and then get invested into something that you're not interested in or comfortable with. Gold and silver, precious metals, fantastic way to hedge against inflation and what's coming. And I'm telling you, there's too many people right now that are high-end economists that are talking about having gold and silver in your portfolio. And it doesn't have to be all, but it should be a significant, maybe 10-20% of your portfolio at minimum should be gold and silver, and that's going to help you.
Yeah, and then I think it's a perfect lead into talking about hedging, about solutions to the things we've been talking about, right? Like you say, hedging for financial. That's for me. That's pretty cut and dry. That's pretty straightforward. You know, there's not much that I understand better than gold and silver, and other than understanding that the financial markets are completely broke and oversold, overpriced, overvalued, you know, you name it. But yeah, hedging in particular, how do you hedge, again, leading towards self-reliance? How do you hedge your like I say, first of all, financial, your food security, your